Welcome, everyone. So excited to be here with you all to celebrate the big finale.
No, so exciting. I mean, there's been so much work and so much excitement and community building and conversations going on over the past weeks. We're just thrilled to welcome you all and share with us the excitement of a big finale. How are you feeling, Avery? I mean, what comes
I don't
to
know, I
mind?
just can't wait to see who wins. I've been on pins and needles all day to see where we finally land this afternoon.
Yeah, for sure. I think, for there is going to be a winner tonight, the winner of the Women-Led Impact Investor Challenge. But there are, of course, many winners because everybody's been putting so much into this and learning and exchanging. But yeah, for sure, I agree with you. Exciting to see that. So as I share my screen, and welcoming you all. And so, yeah, this is our 10th session of the Impact Investor Challenge. So we have been meeting over the past weeks with a group of amazing investors, women and men investors, and a group of founders. So, of course, women-led founders, and so excited to welcome the public to one of our sessions and to have all of you be part of this. Before we start, I wanted to, of course, respectfully acknowledge that we are located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations. We have been we have been sharing these land acknowledgements at the start of all of our sessions together. I think this has been an amazing opportunity for us to think and to ground ourselves into the land that we are located in. And so I wanted to give you also an opportunity to take a moment to think of the lands that you are located in also today, and playing, working, and think of all the people that have been taking care of these lands. So in terms of agenda for today, we are going to share a few welcomes. So TELUS Pollinator Fund for Good, the main partner for this exciting challenge, will be sharing a little bit about what they do, and so excited to have them. We will then have a fireside chat with Alison Nankivel from the BDC and Blair Miller, and so excited to hear that and to elevate this topic of investing in women. We will then hear 5 amazing companies pitch. Each of the companies will pitch for 5 minutes. And then will be followed by 5 minutes of Q&A. And so we'll tell you a little bit more about that. Then you'll have an opportunity to go in networking rooms. So you can see on the left side of your screen, there is something called sessions. So you will be able to go in networking for that. We'll also guide you through this, but excited to give you also this opportunity to interact. And then we'll announce the winner and close and give you also an opportunity to network with the companies at the end of the event. So just a bit of housekeeping also. You see there is a chat on the right side of your screen, so do interact and share questions to the founders, questions to the group if you want, and so please do use that. This event is on Hopin, so the speakers will be the ones coming on screen. And handing it over to Avery, who will also share a bit more about Spring.
So excited to be representing Spring here today as an organization that is committed to changing the world through innovation. We ultimately envision a world where every entrepreneur is an impact entrepreneur and every investor is an impact investor. We also model our company's impact and commitments by being a certified B Corporation, as well as a member of 1% for the Planet. We operate in a very global context, and we are focused on supporting social entrepreneur ecosystem development all over the world, with a particular focus across Europe, Southeast Asia, and Central America. Spring has delivered substantial impact to date over the last 8 years. We have worked in over 50 global communities, have over 1,500 trained alumni, and supported over 100 ecosystem players. Through our various programs, including our Investment Readiness Program and IICs, as well as our Impact Startup Visa, we've brought through over 500 companies, and we've helped to catalyze over $30 million of investment into these businesses. So why were we focused this time on a women-led impact investor challenge? The stats within Canada are tell a very compelling and important story. While 15.6% of small and medium enterprises in Canada are owned by women, and over half of businesses started today are led by women, 90% of VC deals in Canada end up going to companies founded by men. And of women-owned businesses who are micro firms with less than 20 employees, we see that again as really outweighted at 92.7%. What this means is that women are typically being held into building businesses through revenue only, which keeps them in a very kind of specific and constrained market. 60% of the time, investors invest in pitches done by men over women. So we thought it was very important to work on a program to help close this gap and to not only highlight incredible women-led companies that are high growth and amazing investment opportunities, but also to bring in a phenomenal cohort of investors who are applying this gender lens to their investment theses and who are looking at ways to amplify their impact by delivering more capital to women-led companies.
Great. Thank you, Avery, and excited to have shared this with you and supporting these women with you. I wanted to call on stage Kahei from the TELUS Pollinator Fund for Good, who is going to share a little bit more about what they do. Hi, Kahei.
Hi, and nice to see you, and thanks everyone for the opportunity and exciting chance to bring everyone together for a great finale. Just taking a few minutes to talk a little bit about the TELUS Pollinator Fund. Some of you may already have had exposure to what the fund is through various challenges or earlier in this challenge, but just an opportunity to remind everyone that who we are and why this challenge was so important for us, and the collaboration with Spring to expand the pool of capital going to female founders and women founders and women investors is so important to us. So the TELUS Pollinator Fund is a $100 million corporate impact fund that was launched by TELUS and really under the deep commitment by our CEO, Darren Entwistle, to really leverage on the couple of decades of social capitalism that TELUS has been leading through community contributions and its core business, to say, how can we leverage the core assets of TELUS, its market knowledge, and its own capital to back and help grow the next generation of the most innovative startups that are tackling our most pressing social and environmental challenges. So that's what the TELUS Pollinator Fund is. We invest in for-profit startups that's tackling challenges related to climate, responsible food, healthcare, and inclusive communities. And we have the dual mandate of delivering financial returns as well as very deep, measurable, and credible impact returns. We also view our position in the market of not only being able to write checks and provide financial support to companies as being critical, but being able to tap into the commercial and market leadership and technology know-how of TELUS and its 50,000 team members that work around the world. And we see that as a really important differentiation for startups that are looking for not just money, but really a partner that can help them grow and scale their business. And finally, an important objective for us, and is really part of what has underpinned this collaboration with Spring, is that we view our position as one of the world's largest corporate impact funds as having a responsibility to really shift how capital is being allocated into the ecosystem. How can we identify overlooked opportunities in founders? And how can we encourage more capital to be flowing to the most promising opportunities? And how can we make it easier for individual investors and for founders alike to meet and connect and be able to help those solutions grow and scale? Maybe next slide. And part of that, maybe Davina, before I pass it off there, is just really talking a little bit about why the women-led challenge was so important to us. I've been in the impact investing space for about 10, 11 years. And it's been really eye-opening for me, not only to see the opportunities that are there from the wealth of founders that are often overlooked because of their gender or their racial background, but also the deep need still to think about how capital is allocated. I was reading a report last year, and my jaw dropped to the ground when I learned that still in 2021, only 20% of all venture capital deals went to companies led by women. And from a capital allocation perspective, that's 2.3% of all capital. And I think everyone here is here today and tonight and recognizing that the potential for solutions and the urgency for social and environmental and climate solutions is there. And we need everyone to be able to, with those ideas, to be able to come and start a business and have access to capital. And so really exciting to see the different investors that have joined this cohort in leading the charge to really think about how to back women-led businesses and be an ally in this process. And so I'm looking forward to see the finale and also hear about from other investors' experience through this evening. Thanks, Davina.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Kahe. And I think, yeah, I mean, I echo to everything that you do and said regarding investing in women. It's very exciting to see more and more women in large funds, and also we'll be excited to hear about our keynote on this topic, which is, can you hear me? I'm just seeing a message in the chat that I cannot be heard, but okay. Great. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. So thank you, Kahe. Also wanted to acknowledge and thank some of our sponsors for 2022. And so thanking all of them who have supported this program: DLA Piper Inc., Tandem, Carl Jung, Active Impact, MNP, Janus, and of course the TELUS Pollinator Fund for Good. Those are supporters of this program. They have provided expertise and support throughout, and so I wanted to thank them. I also wanted to mention that so Janus Capital Management, one of our supporters, will be holding a session on December 1st. So this Thursday is from 12 to 1 PST. And so if you're interested also to hear more about what kind of impact investing you can do, please tune in to that session. We'll share the link for the registration in the chat. And this is really a session for investors who want to get additional opportunities for, to just learn about what is possible in the market. And so please join us. Jill Bester, Shannon Ward will be there. And so excited to have you all. This is a session that is open to the public. Thank you. So I just wanted to take you through also what has been going on over the past few weeks and explain to you a little bit more what we are doing today. And so we've started this program last summer, and so advertising to companies and investors to join us for this Women-Led Impact Investor Challenge. We've received over 80 applications and selected 15 of these as to start the program, and then we've worked with these 15 companies, then 10, and then 5 finalists. So the 5 finalists that you'll see today are really at the end of this journey with us. Alongside these companies, we've worked with 25 investors who have pre-committed to a pool of investment, so over 100K in investment to invest in the winner of the company that you will see tonight. We've done that by having meeting every week. So we've had 11 weekly sessions to guide these investors, some completely new to investment, some more experienced, but discovering also about impact investing. And so we've met with them every week with guest speakers to work on the topic of impact investing, and then working on the due diligence of the 5 companies that you will see tonight. So one will receive the investment tonight, but there are of course many winners, as I was saying, as I was welcoming you, because this has been a great learning and an opportunity for connections for all of them. So I wanted also to thank all the speakers that we've had throughout this program. You'll see some of them tonight, Alison and Blair, Alison Nankivel and Blair Miller. But really, we couldn't have done this without the great support of all our speakers who have come every week and shared their knowledge. We've also had amazing coaches who have been supporting the due diligence process. And so you'll see on the right-hand side of your screen, Irene Dorsman, Peter Dorsman, Melanie Roop, Claudia, Monique. And so all of them have really supported the group through this due diligence with their experience as angel investors. So thank you all. And I know some of them are here tonight watching us. So hi to all. So tonight we are also part of a greater initiative from Spring. These Impact Investor Challenges have been running since 2019. And so today we're really celebrating our 9th winner of an investor challenge. All of these that you see here below have won an investor challenges over the past 3 years. We'll recognize some of the names here, and some of these companies have really grown tremendously. But overall, just taking you a bit through this journey that we've taken our community through. We've trained over 160 impact investors. We've also featured over 170 companies. So companies who have been like the ones that you will see tonight. We've had 38 finalists, and we've catalyzed over $1 million in impact investments through programs like this one. And so seeing all these winners, they've also themselves raised additional funds after this challenge, and so excited to share with you that they've together raised over $15 million. Great. So I wanted to see if our 2 speakers are now here to come on stage for a fireside chat. And so Alison Nankivel from the BDC and Blair Miller. So I'm just checking with the technical side. Hi, Blair.
Hey, Davina, how you doing?
I'm very good. Welcome.
Excellent.
And I don't know if Alison is backstage. So I know she was traveling. And yeah, so so Blair, I mean, how are you feeling tonight? You've been also following this investor challenge. You were a speaker when we started this. What do you come with tonight, and maybe share with the crowd?
Yeah, for sure, Davina. Excitement and trepidation. So the excitement about the event tonight, the finale, the pitches, and the allocation of over $100,000. So I think that's amazing. The trepidation about my drive home with many other Vancouverites in the snow tonight. So I will say that the excitement greatly trumps the that I feel at embarking on a bit of a snowy drive later on. But no, this is, I think, as you know, this is an area that we have a deep commitment to in the TELUS Pollinator Fund, and have since our outset. Over 40% of our portfolio is women-led ventures. So this is something there's a lot of intentionality at. And, we're constantly and consistently looking for partners. And Spring has been a fantastic one in helping us support the development of the ecosystem here, and it's something it's needed not only in Canada but abroad. But we're taking measured steps here, and are just really excited to continue the work with you folks on this front, and really excited to see what comes out of the challenge tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's diversity, equity, inclusion. I mean, I think it's a topic that is at the top of our minds and has been throughout this process. And thank you for sharing also some numbers. I know the TELUS Pollinator Fund is very active on that front, and the intentionality that you need in order for that to be in existence and to really push others to follow. I think what have been for you the process on that, and how do you operate, and how all of this DEI policy kind of what is it in practice for you guys?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. And I had the opportunity to speak with some members of this audience through, the forum a couple of weeks back, and speaking with Rhiannon of Sandpiper, and just talking about intentionality. So, going at it with a specific intent of enabling outcomes. And, I think Kehei had in our introduction just a few minutes ago, just an incredible statistic that 2.3% of capital allocated last year went to women-led ventures. Like how does half of the population produce an outcome of 2.3% of investment dollars? Clearly there's an imbalance in the equation, and the right outcomes are not being supported there. And so we think there's a fantastic opportunity in surfacing and supporting more women-led ventures, because obviously many of them just mathematically are being overlooked, or not getting access to the opportunity and capital that they should. And so I think in terms of initiatives like this, we think that's intentionality in action that we're fostering, attracting attention and building ecosystem and capability set. And what I love about the work that Spring is doing, and a key reason that we partnered with the Spring organization was to bring together not just kind of like-minded investor groups to put money into organizations, but importantly the training and development on the ecosystem side. So the training of investors, and bringing the DEI lens and the impact lens to educating and evolving the investor side. Hugely important. And with each new person trained, or each new organization trained, the sphere of impact grows larger. And we really do need that multiplier effect in order to affect meaningful change, and not be in a situation where there's this pathetic 2.3% of capital going to 50% of the population.
No, for sure. Well, so I think we have a technical issue for Alison to get on stage, and so sorry about that. If she manages to join, we will bring her on. But maybe just to share a bit more about what we wanted to talk, in this panel, and digging a bit deeper in what you just said. I mean, why do you think there are not more willing to invest in underrepresented founders? I know this was not a question planned for you, so sorry to put you on the spot. But if you want to share your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, for sure, Davina, and I think a bit of it is, those kind of the willingness to support, leaders, founders, and organizations that don't look exactly like you. And I think, that's a challenge, like a systemic bias. And you see it in the system today. We at the Pollinator team, again, it's, about 40% of our portfolio companies, which now numbers about 25, are women-led, and over 50% are led by Indigenous and racialized founders. And again, we think those are like great investments. We think those are opportunities that are being, missed or surfaced, and we think they're scalable opportunities, which is very exciting. And it requires development of pipeline and network and connectivity in kind of new spaces. And again, it kind of goes back to the concept of intentionality and, sort of practicing that and ensuring that we're taking steps to eliminate bias in our intake processes and in our evaluation processes. And it's a journey. We're far from perfect. So we constantly look for feedback, and we consistently look to get better, kind of year over year and quarter over quarter and deal over deal in terms of how we're approaching the market, how we're working with founders, and are we attracting the right type of the right mix that would facilitate the types of DEI outcomes that we're seeking. But doing so, we're not accepting concessionary returns, or we're certainly not looking for concessionary returns. We think these are good investments. And so, again, I think it's about supporting events like this. It's about talking to more people. It's about putting more women in position that they should be in terms of decision making and capital allocation. I think those will make big differences.
Yeah, and I think, we have a lot of investors in the room tonight, and I think, what you're sharing about returns potential and, the fact we're doing impact investing, we're doing good, we're looking for returns also. What would you share with investors who are starting on their impact investing journey, in terms of, both kind of making sure they're looking at all opportunities equally and not leaving money on the table, but also, balancing a bit, their impact objectives and their returns objectives?
Yeah,
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I also have Allison on the phone here, if we want to try calling in.
Yeah, we can. Can you bring her on stage?
Yes. She's on now too. She's on my phone.
Okay. Hi, Allison. Can you hear us?
Allison, can you hear them?
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Allison. We can hear you. You're live on stage. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can, Davina. Thank you so much, and I apologize for all the technical challenges.
No, not at all. And yeah, I think and glad that you can come on stage. So Blair, I'll leave it over to you, and happy for you to exchange a little bit with Allison. And sorry for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, for sure, Davina. And maybe just as a before I say hello and introduce Allison, what kind of time do we have?
Yeah, so we have another 10 minutes. It'll be perfect.
Another 10 minutes? Okay,
yeah.
Great. Hey, Allison, how are you?
Good, Blair. Sorry about this, and apologies. So we'll try to be as efficient as we can, and so let me know what I can help you with in terms of questions.
Yeah, for sure. And just by way of introduction, this is really exciting. So I got to meet Allison last week. Just an incredible resume. So Allison's currently the Senior Vice President of Fund Investments in Global Scaling at BDC, and leads the team that handles BDC's capital indirect investment supporting funds and fund leaders. And BDC is Canada's largest venture and growth equity fund. with more than $5 billion under management. Alison, maybe just a quick start with a little bit more about yourself and about your role, and then I'll jump into a couple questions. But again, just thrilled to be speaking with you again and connecting with the audience here.
Yeah, no, happy to, and great to meet everyone, albeit via only audio. So hope I get a chance at some point to connect with you all in person. So I run as Blair said, the fund investments program, and sort of working with our companies in global expansion. But I think our funds program is a little different than the average fund of funds program of a lot of groups, because we, as a fund investor, have, as Blair mentioned, one of the largest I think we do probably have the largest venture portfolio in Canada. About close to 120 funds. About 65 key GP relationships, all strategies, all stages. But what we do specialize in is working with emerging managers and also co-creating new funds with managers, especially when we look into areas that we think are underrepresented or what we consider white space, which is to say that it might be a technology cluster that's not well served. It might be that a community of underserved founders who we believe need in fund strategy to address it. And so we work a lot with emerging managers, both to identify teams and help mentor them to tackle some of these areas that we think are underserved. So that's probably very different from a lot of groups, because that's such a high proportion. It's been at times up to a third of our portfolio, which is first-time managers. That's
great, Alison. Thanks for that additional background. I think a pretty massive scope between the funds under management, 120 funds, 65 GP relationships, and the many other initiatives that you're helping start and support. So very much appreciate the ability to work with the BDC and have you here today. Davina had asked me what we did at the Pollinator Fund in our kind of approach to DEI and women-led startups. Maybe you could talk a bit more about that, and just kind of highlighting some of the initiatives on the co-creation side and the Thrive Labs and whatnot that you're looking at bringing to market over the next year or so.
Yeah, no, happy to. Our kind of journey on diversity, equity, inclusion certainly started with a focus on women in 2017. So we started this a little earlier than some others. We went out and we found Michelle McBain and sort of co-created with her Stand Up Ventures, which is the first private GP in the market in Canada as a female GP focused exclusively on supporting women-led, co-led businesses. And so that initiative in 2017, we wrote a $5 million check to her fund. She was looking to raise in a first fund about $20 million. We basically put her in business and we're out there as the sole LP for about 2 years before others joined us. So it was quite an interesting journey in getting a lot of our fellow LPs around the table to understand that investing in women-led, co-led businesses wasn't philanthropy. It wasn't something that was, sacrifice of returns. It was a really good value proposition and an underserved community of founders who had a lot of talent. So, when we did that, the second thing we followed up with was obviously creating an internal capability, because BDC tends to do both funds as well as direct investments. And so we created an internal direct fund, which is our Women in Tech Fund, which is run by my colleague, Michelle Scarborough. And that was set up, again, it's just a little bit later into 2017, and I had been involved before Michelle joined in sort of getting the theory and strategy of how that fund was going to work. And that was to basically do slightly later stage. So, our Stand Up Ventures was doing kind of early seed, and Michelle Scarborough, our Women in Tech Fund 1, which was a $200 million fund, was doing sort of seed extension and then Series A. And so we were looking to complement that and start to build out the continuum of financing to support women. And that kind of combination with an active program over the years of both supporting from an ecosystem perspective, women's groups, whether they're angel groups, bringing together communities to help sort of with that mentorship of founders, female founders, as well as then continuing to go on and support other female-led fund managers in the market, as we did from the fund-to-fund side, from my side of the business, was critical to start building out that ecosystem of partners. And so that led us to where we are now, where, as many of you know, we announced earlier this year the launch of Thrive, the Thrive platform, which is really continuation of what we've been doing with support for women, both support for women GPs who are backing women founders, but also support directly to companies through our direct investing activity. So our new Thrive platform, which on total is $500 million, is split between three sort of separate offerings. One, our fund to funds program, as we do, where we're backing women-led GPs with a focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion in their strategy, is a $100 million allocation to support both existing female GP partners we have, as well as new and emerging ones. We have the basically Thrive Fund, which is basically the successor to the Women in Tech Fund. So this is sort of Fund 2, which is going to be a $300 million fund, focused again more a little bit later stage, more Series A and then into B in what it's doing. And then we will have Thrive Labs, which is a $100 million allocation to partner with groups across the country who are doing more angel to pre-seed and very early seed activity, where BDC can come in as sort of a matching capacity through a convertible note to support some of that early community building that happens with those first early checks into women founders. And so, again, the theme there is to scale up what we were doing in our first iteration, but also to continue to build the continuity of funding that's available from the pre-seed stage through to the growth stage.
Yeah, that's great. Those are amazing additions to the Canadian ecosystem, and excited to work with you, Allison, and Michelle and team on those fronts. I'll ask you this question from two perspectives. Allison, given your incredible experience globally and in Canada, and from, as you have mentioned, being in on support of diverse and specifically women-founded organizations, what's one piece of advice that you'd give to a new investor entering into this space with respect to supporting underrepresented or specifically women-led ventures?
Yeah, so I think, when you talk about someone as an investor, right, they can invest either directly into a company or they can invest into a fund. So I think the community needs both types of investors. Certainly, just as we've experienced working together with you and with TELUS Pollinator, investing as an LP in funds is important, because we do need to bring new communities of GPs, not just sort of in the women's area per se, but also just more broadly in women or underrepresented communities, that's including women of color, Indigenous women, where you really need to have managers who represent those communities accessing those founders and building those networks by funding them to build a franchise around them. So I think that's an important point, and something that, investors need to look at is are they looking to invest with somebody who's really representative of the communities that they're interested in supporting? On the direct investing side, I think how we look at women founders is really, and supporting women-led, co-led businesses is really the same as we would with any other business. It's about, understanding the commitment of that founder, their ability to sort of build a team around them, a common vision, a focus on building something larger than themselves. And I think, to be fair, women have, I think, generally still in that area, and just not have the diversity of investors to see the value proposition of what they bring, because they might pitch differently. They might be focused on sort of less traditional VC sectors. And I think the great strength about the sort of having both women-led funds and women in the capital allocators, as well as women as founders, is you're getting a diversity of perspective around the table of how people look at what makes a good deal and what doesn't, right? And I think that, you know, we all have learned the lessons in venture that there's a lot of great business out there that, you know, in first glance, traditional venture people wouldn't be investing in, but, you know, somebody else looks at that value proposition differently and sees something there in the founder and the idea that really, you know, allows them to invest and really make a success of it as both an investor and maybe a partner to that company. And I think that's the sort of lesson learned, is that, you know, approach this with conviction, approach it with an open mind about what you're hearing if you're investing either in a founder directly or in a manager, because I think that conviction, that uniqueness of vision, and a tenacity and an integrity to learn along the way in your journey is, you know, that's a big part of what we look for when we're investing either at the founder level or at the GP level.
Yeah, that's great. Fantastic, Alison. Maybe in closing, the other lens to that question is, what does that advice look like to a new founder, a new female founder, whether it's a company that BDC is invested in, or, you know, you're offering support or tuition and feedback to?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, you know, it's about that feedback. That feedback is about understanding that we see supporting women-led companies as well as any kind of diverse company. I think the important thing to see is it's mainstream, right? Which is this isn't unique. It's not novel. There's a lot of incredible founders out there. There's a lot of incredible fund managers out there who just have a different take on looking for that talent. And so when we deal with, you know, female founders, for example, one of the biggest things was explaining that, you know, our bar and how we work with them will be the same as for anyone else, because, you know, women founders and you know, companies that are looking to scale beyond that first check they might get from you as BDC or somebody else, you know, they're going to have to meet the same milestones to get that next round of funding, right? So it's about building a relationship of trust from the start, to have that open dialogue, to understand where you can bring that broader community of support and mentorship in, because, you know, we will provide a certain value proposition as an investor. Others around the table will provide other value propositions, and it's really important that it's a community approach of everybody understanding the respective sort of strength and value proposition they can bring to a founder when they're working with them, if they're part of the cap table or if they're, you know, simply part of the ecosystem support through acceleration services or angel services that have helped some of those companies from the very beginning. So I just think that taking that community approach and understanding that you're trying to set them up for success, because it is a long journey, and you know, you really do. I mean, I think the sign of success we've seen is that so many of the companies that we have backed in the early stage, you know, like you look at people like, you know, Tealbook or Bridget or, you know, Nudge Rewards. I mean, these are all companies that had exceptional success and continued to fund and get follow-on capital for mainstream venture groups who aren't looking at them as women founders, but just great companies, right? That's the mark of success you're looking for.
That's great. Thank you, Alison. And Davina, how are we doing?
Yeah, no, great. So glad that we were able to have you on, Alison, and thank you both for this great conversation. I think, you know, very inspirational for both investors and founders. And yeah, I mean, and I couldn't agree with you more, Alison. I mean, the sky is the limit, really. So thank you.
And continue to see that's all along the way. And I'm sure that many of the people who are part of this group tonight will be part of that future of success as well.
Great. Well, thank you both. And thank you, Blair. Thank you, Alison. Great to have you both with us this evening. Please stay on and watch the amazing pitches we're going to share right now. Yeah, and excited to see you both soon.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So I wanted to, so now we're going to go into the second part of our evening, and so sharing the pitches of the 5 finalists of this competition. And so I wanted to introduce all of them now, as well as welcome on stage Sagal Douale, who is from the Canadian Women's Foundation, and so who is going to present this with us. She's has been an amazing partner also of this program. So happy to have Sagal with us, if she's able to come on stage. And so while she does that, just sharing with you the process here. So we'll hear each of the companies pitch for 5 minutes, and then there'll be 5 minutes of Q&A. Actually, for the Q&A, we've been working with the investor groups and their coaches to prepare some good questions for all of you. So Sagal and myself will be sharing those questions, but please do share some questions in the chat, and the founders who are here tonight will also get an opportunity to answer those. So I don't know if Sagal is coming on stage, but while she does that, just sharing also the order of the pitches. So we'll start with NADA, then FICO, then IsEmpower, then Imaginable Solutions, and finally Voxel Bioinnovation. Okay, and so, okay, so as I want to maybe introduce the first company, as Sagal is coming on stage. Just one second. So yeah, so Brianne Miller from NADA is our first company sharing tonight. So I will stop share here while I introduce her. And so NADA is a tech-enabled package-free grocery store. Some of you, those of you who are in Vancouver, would certainly have had a chance to come across NADA. They're on a mission to connect people to just and regenerative food systems, championing a community food system by linking buyers to suppliers and offering healthy unpackaged products. So they sell direct to consumer online and in store, and distribute local package-free foods to other grocery stores and businesses. So you can hear Nada's pitch.
As a marine biologist, I've seen firsthand the impacts of our industrial food system on the health of our oceans. For almost a decade, fieldwork brought me to some of the most remote corners of the world, where over and over I saw plastic packaging polluting some of the most biodiverse ecosystems on the planet. When we think of drivers of climate change, things like fossil fuels and energy use usually come to mind first. But what's less conspicuous are the impacts of what is in our grocery baskets. Our conventional grocery system is broken. It's extremely carbon intensive, very wasteful, and there's very little transparency. It's near impossible to understand where our food is coming from or how it gets to us. And what we eat turns out to be the #1 driver of climate change. My name is Brianne Miller, and I'm the founder and CEO of NADA. We're refilling grocery essentials and goods for grocery shoppers like you and to businesses who want to reduce their food and packaging waste. We sell package-free groceries online and in person, and have figured out how to circularize and localize our food system while supporting an incredibly diverse local supply chain of more than 150 suppliers and farms. We do this by buying and selling responsibly sourced foods in reusable containers. We've developed the underlying technology to make this easy and possible at scale. This includes container deposit tracking, selling food by weight, and managing inventory without the barcodes of traditional food packaging. We also work with our suppliers to get products to us in reusable containers. So this is how it works. You just need to jump onto our website, where you can browse close to 1,000 responsibly sourced foods and goods, fill your cart, and you can choose to get next day delivery or pickup in store. You can use the subscription or reorder features for next week's grocery shop, and you can feel good about voting with your dollars for a better food system. So imagine if every grocery store had a package-free aisle that stocked your favorite local brands. At Nada, we're redesigning a $10 billion sustainable grocery industry to make circular food systems the future of food. We're a certified B Corporation that's successful in Vancouver and ready to scale. Since the beginning of this year, we've secured a new warehousing space, expanded our services to 10 cities, and acquired a competitor to leverage our buying power. Just like Patagonia, we have an e-commerce platform that's supported by warehousing for fulfillment and a small retail footprint in key cities for community building and event-based marketing. Our retail operations broke even within our first year with more than $1 million in revenue. We've since pivoted online and now have 3 diverse revenue streams, including B2B, online, and retail. We're currently selling across BC through wholesale with Spud and have created a business model that keeps people coming back. You can't unsee the plastic in a normal grocery shop once you've shopped with Nada. Our average cart sizes and revenue per square foot rival that of Whole Foods with an incredibly high returning customer rate of 73%. We also have healthy and growing margins for our industry with B2B cart sizes that are 10 times those of our online and retail carts. Our team is incredibly passionate about the power of food as a climate solution, and we're backed by advisors and industry experts in the e-commerce, retail, and grocery industries with the support of Corellis and Shopify for startups. Our advisory board includes founders and VPs of these sustainable brands that we know and love. We're fundraising to expand our services in British Columbia and to grow our B2B revenue stream after a successful pilot with Spud. We're raising a $2 million round, and we're expecting to oversubscribe with 1.5 million committed, 785 in due diligence, and 5 impact funds that are already on our cap table. The remaining use of proceeds are allocated to ad spend, digital marketing, and continued improvements to our e-commerce platform and technology. Impact is baked into our business model and has been since our very first pop-up shop. We're an award-winning 1% for the Planet company and are also one of the first incorporated benefit corporations in the country. We've diverted more than 1.5 million containers from landfill, recovered more than 99% of surplus food from our operations, and become the only grocery store, maybe ever, to pay a living wage to every team member. We've carbon footprinted our entire supply chain and know that our operations are carbon negative. As we scale, we continue to draw down greenhouse gas emissions. Our ask is to help oversubscribe this round and to keep our cap table full of women who care deeply about people, planet, and profit. You have an opportunity to support a more sustainable food future, and we'd love to have you join us on our mission of connecting people to a more just, equitable, and regenerative food system. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Brianne. And welcome, Sagal.
Thank you, Davina. I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for coming on stage. And maybe just before we invite Brianne on stage, if you could share a little bit more about yourself and the Canadian Women's Foundation and what brings you here.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, I'm really grateful to be here. It's a really exciting evening, and I'm really honored to be one of the people that could introduce the finalists today. So the Canadian Women's Foundation is a national philanthropic organization, also advocacy organization, and we're honored to support and be one of the sponsors to Spring Activator. One of the ways we're supporting social impact organizations is through a national program called the Investment Readiness Program, which is fortuitously opening tomorrow. And the aim there is to support kind of early stage organizations and get more women, two-spirited, trans, and gender diverse people participating in the social finance marketplace. And so for us, it was a no-brainer to support Spring and be part of this challenge. And I really don't want to take too much time with that. And so I'm really excited to kind of get to introducing the finalists, of course, and learning more about our first finalist.
Great. And thank you, Sagal, for the great support here. So as we were just hearing from Brianne, I don't know if she's backstage and can come on stage to have a quick Q&A session with us. Welcome, Brianne. Well done.
Hi. I made it. Excited to be here.
Great. So we just heard your amazing pitch. So a few questions for you. These questions shared by your investor group. So excited to have those. And we understand that you have been going through a new development of NADA from B2C to B2B. And so we just wanted to ask you, what are the big milestones with regards to that and for this new development for NADA?
Yeah, so we're super excited for that. We started as a direct-to-consumer company and pivoted online at the beginning of the pandemic. And we've just started to see a lot of interest on the B2B side of things. So it's something that's always been quite inbound for us, actually. Lots of companies in Vancouver, like retail headquarters, for example, and offices that have been reaching out for orders and office snacks and things like that. And more recently, we've been focused on the grocery side of things. So earlier this year, we started working with Spud, and they have listed a smaller proportion of our SKUs that they're selling throughout British Columbia, which we're super excited about. And so, yeah, this, like the grocery side of things, is where we really see having an incredible impact. It's this whole idea of imagining a package-free aisle in any grocery store, and we've really created this system that would enable other grocers to do the same. So we're really hoping that we could start to offer NADA products and to really support the local brands that we work so closely with and be a really important touch point into retail for brands. There's actually a really large gap in the market for that right now. Whole Foods used to do a really good job of getting smaller local brands into retail, but that's completely changed since Amazon. And so really excited to grow our B2B customer base. And we're starting with adding more SKUs onto Spud, so you can find us on there.
Great. Yeah, so next questions. You're pushing really the boundaries with NADA and challenging the way we consume and we behave. Impact investing is also about challenging a bit the way we invest and the way investment can be done. And so what would you say to investors in the room tonight who are keen to explore new ways of investing, and what value or values does a company like yours bring to these investors?
Yeah, I think it's actually very similar to what we share with our customer base. It's this whole idea of starting small and taking like this very first actionable step as you kind of dive into this new world of sustainability or impact investing or package-free grocery shopping. So just kind of committing to that first step and starting to learn and going from there. And there are many really compelling examples when you start to look at it was just like what Blair and Allison were saying earlier, where people and planet and profit go hand in hand. And many of these companies are actually certified B Corps as a really good example. So a lot of brands that we really know and love, like Allbirds or Ben & Jerry's or Patagonia, it's that intertwinedness of people, planet, and profit that really goes together that, is a really exciting investment opportunity. We personally have found, even on the investee side of things, that getting involved in a lot of peer groups, exactly like this or Corellis, are really good places to learn alongside peers that happen to be at a very similar stage. And then starting to invest in impact funds as an LP, like Allison mentioned, was also a really good place. For us on the entrepreneur side of things, we've been really lucky to find some incredibly values-aligned impact investment funds, and we've gotten an incredible amount of support for them. So even though those interactions might not be direct, we're starting to see more and more of those organizations popping up. And companies that are looking for investment in the impact space, they're really like challenging new ways of thinking. Like we're really trying to paint the future that we want to see. Women-led companies especially are disrupting a lot of traditional ways of doing business. And we're just trying to shift paradigms. And I think there's a lot of value and excitement that we bring to the table when it comes to impact investing.
Great. Yeah, agreed. Thanks. And maybe so last question, we've seen through your pitch and your presentation that NADA has a strong focus on environmental impact. But can you tell us a little bit more about the social impact that you're creating with your company and the intentionality that you have behind decent wages and employment conditions?
Yeah, of course. So people have and always have been at the heart of what we do. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without our team. And so they've always been a priority, starting in the very beginning with a team member who was responsible, for example, for people and culture right from day one. And so we're really focused on a lot of social initiatives that we're tracking through B Corp. So we're looking at things like employee ownership and our health and mental well-being policies. And we really have a holistic view to how we treat our employees. a big part of this kind of falls under this bucket of living wage as well. That was a big goal of ours, and we're really excited to share that we have gotten, as of this summer, every team member to a living wage. I think arguably we are the only grocery store maybe ever or anywhere that has been able to do that. So that's something we're incredibly proud of. And then on the social impact side of things, our supply chain and our community partners are where we have a huge impact as well. So as the 1% for the Planet company, we're working with more than 35 grassroots nonprofit organizations that are focused on things like food security and food accessibility. And then we have a lot of programs that we focus on ourselves with community partners. So for example, the Broadway Youth Resource Center and the Vancouver Native Housing Society are neighbors of ours in the same building. We recruit through them, we hire through them, we work on community projects with them. And so it's really this idea of like scaling up, scaling out, and scaling deep is a philosophy that we really love when it comes to social impact. So we're working on like the deep relationship building and sharing what we've learned and bringing more people into what we do.
Yeah, no, I think that's amazing. And it's true that, it's just people, it's planet and people, and both do come in hand. So thank you so much, Brianne, and thank you for being here. I think it's very late for you, and so excited to have you with us.
Thanks. Excited for the chance to be here.
Yeah. Thanks. So next up is FICO. So that a lot of you have also discovered during our first pitch event. So introducing them, FICO is and Rania Shavoshi is the CEO and the founder of FICO with Stacy. So FICO is a marine biotechnology company focused on eliminating plastic pollution. They farm seaweed in partnership with indigenous nations to manufacture fully biodegradable and non-toxic bioplastic. Their goal is to produce compostable packaging products for the agriculture industry.
Hi, my name is Rana Travoshi, and I'm the founder of FICO. Plastic pollution is a global issue. Since the 1950s, we've produced 8.8 billion tons of plastic, and this is the result of it. This is a photo taken by me in 2016 of Sempurna, Malaysia, and the first time that I saw a sea of plastic. In Canada, we produce 3.3 million tons of plastic waste per year. 9% of that is recycled. The rest ends up in landfill, waste-to-energy facilities, and unfortunately, the environment. And the agricultural and agri-food industry contribute to this. Canadian farmers rely on 62,000 tons of plastic per year. Of the 1.9 million tons of plastic packaging produced, the agri-food sector accounts for 35 to 45% of that. So what is FICO? We are a marine biotechnology company focused on seaweed aquaculture in partnership with Indigenous nations and utilizing that seaweed to manufacture a compostable and non-toxic plastic alternative. Why seaweed? Well, it's native to our coastlines. It's low maintenance as a crop, doesn't require the use of any chemical inputs such as fertilizer or pesticides. It's fast growing, and while it grows, it sequesters carbon, which actively allows us to mitigate the effects of climate change. We realize that this is a competitive landscape, and we are different in a couple different ways. Firstly, we're focused on equity, specifically partnering with Indigenous nations to source our seaweed. In addition, while we're developing our compostable plastic, in parallel, we're developing an enzymatic recycling technology that accelerates the biodegradation of our product so that it can be broken down in any environment. The market in Canada is a fairly large one. There's 25 billion in plastics, excluding resins. In agriculture, 760 tons of plastic is used per year as packaging, and that translates to roughly 10 billion. And our initial market, which we believe our early adopters will be organic producers, is 6.5 billion. If we can attain even 5% of that market share, that's $325 million just in Canada. So who are we? We're two very passionate female scientists who have over 25 years of combined experience in seaweed, aquatic toxicology, marine natural products, and microbial communities. And we recently onboarded a material scientist who specializes in macroalgal biomaterials. We're also supported by a wonderful group of mentors who want to see us succeed. Our business model and revenue is coming down the line in a couple of years. Since we are in research and development, we expect to have direct sales of our product in 2 to 3 years and licensing our enzymatic recycling technology in 2 to 4 years. We are going to be pursuing provisional patents as part of our IP strategy. And we expect to have additional sources of revenue from seaweed byproducts, since we're using raw biomass of macroalgae. And we expect to potentially use those in fertilizers, agri-feeds, and other high-value products that exist in seaweeds themselves. In 5 years, we aim to be a certified B Corporation, and we aim to sell carbon credits from our seaweed farms. Our impact. We realize that we're an emergent company. However, our impact will be long-lasting and sustainable. We're science-based, so we use evidence-based decision-making to inform our scientific advancement. We're focused on community and reducing inequality and fostering diverse communities. We focus on local to minimize our carbon footprint by sourcing our seaweed locally and manufacturing. And ultimately, our business model is fully sustainable. We have a holistic, long-term vision of what we aim to do, and that will ultimately minimize our environmental impact. We believe that seaweed can be an equitable climate and plastic pollution solution. Our ask is social capital. We are looking for a team or individuals of champions, people who are willing to support us with their intellectual capital, with their connections, and specifically folks who are well-connected in Indigenous communities that we would like to partner with. We are aiming to raise a pre-seed round of $250,000, but we are cognizant that we are looking for patient capital. What we aim to do is long-term, complex, and sustainable. And so the capital that we look for has to understand that. Thank you for your time and consideration. If you have any questions, feel free to email myself or my co-founder.
Great. Thank you so much, Rana. That was great.
Okay, it's great. I think we have Rana on the line. There we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Thank you so much, Rana. It's so exciting to have you here tonight, and thanks for sharing your time and your presence.
Excited to be here.
So I'd love to just get into it and ask you a little bit more about FICO and what makes FICO really different from its competitors.
It's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I think what makes us different is really our focus on equity firstly. Like I said in the pitch, we're a young early stage company, we're emergent. And from inception, we have been building partnerships with Indigenous nations. So we're very focused on having long-term, respectful, and sustainable relationships with these communities because we want to see them thrive. That's something that we're doing that our competitors, to my knowledge, haven't done. In addition, that also is based in our company as well in terms of who is on our team. We're 2 female scientists, we're 2 female founders. So the people we want to bring on are not traditionally in those positions of power to join our team. So we want to bring a diverse team on our side so we can thrive that way, because different thoughts and different backgrounds really supports an innovative environment based on my experience at least. And then lastly, one thing that really differentiates us from our competitors is that we're not just building a product to put out onto market. We can put out a compostable plastic and send it out into the world, but not all places have composting facilities. Not all places will accept compostable plastics. So that's why we're developing our enzymatic recycling technology in parallel to what we're doing, because we want to have a holistic view of where our products end up. We care about the environment. We don't want to see more plastic pollution. So that's something that differentiates us right from the get-go.
Thanks for sharing that, Rana. And you talked a bit also in your answer about being kind of a relatively new or young organization. So as your co-founders, you and Stacy, how would you describe, like, why are you uniquely qualified to lead FICO?
Well, we are, I think, being 2 women who are scientists, we are trained to innovate. That's something we've done throughout both of our careers. Both of us have entrepreneurial experience. I've worked in industry and academia. I've worked in nonprofits and EDI. And so we are trained to innovate, as I said, but also we're trained to deal with failure. We're trained to deal with adversity in institutions that are not historically meant for us. So I think both of us are fighters. We're very hard workers, and we're extremely passionate about what we do. We want to make an impact, and we feel with our experience that's quite wide ranging, we are the right team to lead this effort.
Thanks for sharing that, Rana. And I just have one more question for you, Rana. I can't believe that 2023 is around the corner in just in a month. So, kind of looking forward, what are your goals in the coming year? What are the goals for FICO in the coming year?
Yeah, so I'm happy to talk about that. Our goals are largely to continue developing our prototype. So we've actually started onboarding our biomaterial scientist, who's going to help us get it to a pilotable stage within the year, ideally. And we're going to continue to build our team as well. There's certain individuals that we're looking for to join our team, polymer chemists, as well as someone who is who has a business development background. So that's one of our weaknesses. We're brilliant scientists where we have leadership training and equity, diversity, and inclusion training, but we're looking for someone who can join our team who would have that experience and can really help us build our company further. On top of that, we're going to be aiming to finalize that pre-seed round of $250K to raise that capital and really establish our online presence and branding, and really try to get this off to the ground. We've gotten a lot of traction in the past little while that we've been working on this, so we're hoping to continue to see it snowball. So keep an eye on us. We're hopefully our name might be still around.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Rana. And it sounds like you have a big year coming up. I really want to thank you, Rana, for your time and being here, and really honored to be having this conversation with you. So thank you once again, Rana.
Likewise. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay. I think what we'll do is we're going to go to our next finalist. And we will shortly share a video, but I get, of course, the privilege of introducing the next finalist, which is Pat Chasing, the founder and CEO of ISEmpower, is a career launchpad platform designed for international students. And the platform enables universities and colleges to support international students at scale by connecting them with job opportunities and tailored resources while helping employers hire ethically diverse candidates inside the country faster and a lot easier.
When I first came to Canada, it was extremely hard, and I was struggling to find even a minimum wage job. Today, studying abroad has never been easier. In fact, it is at its peak. In Canada, where we work and live, today we are the fastest growing country in the international students population. We are currently growing at 20% year over year. International students like myself came to a new country not for just a hope for quality education, but a hope for a better life and employment outcome. Currently, university and colleges are relying heavily on the international students' tuition as the #1 source of revenue. But unfortunately, once the students are inside the country, there's currently no support system for them, leaving more than half of them being underemployed. And that is why today we are Canada First career launchpad for international students. Our technology integrates higher education institutions and employers across the country to help international students succeed at scale. We provide technology and tool for higher education institutions to provide a scalable support to the growing population of international students, which doesn't exist today. On the other hand, we help employers build a more equitable talent pipeline by tapping into multiple institutions using one platform, helping them hire diverse candidates faster and easier without compromising on quality. Unlike other competitors, our platform goes beyond just sharing resources to international students, but really changing the way that they get hired by matching them directly to job opportunities and vice versa. We also reduce barriers when it comes to hiring diverse candidates for the employers, making it easier to hire by validating things like language proficiency and work authorization. We provide a supportive community of mentor network where students can learn from the lived experience and integrate this platform right into career centers where we can scale the support and help each and every one of the international students. Our platform is free for students to join. We currently charge a monthly subscription fee for the employers to use the software to hire international students. Our platform ranges from $500 per month to more than $1,000 per month. Next year, we are on tap to launch a higher education revenue stream in which we can license this platform and integrate into schools, charging based on the size of their international students' enrollment. I bootstrapped this business entirely, and today we have over 20,000 international students on our platform across the country. We have 50 employers who are hiring candidates actively with us, like KPMG, RBC, and even TELUS. Today, we are also integrating this platform into 20 schools nationwide, and we're just getting started. Though we're just getting started, we already make global headline as the #1 platform for international students. We really believe that the time to solve this problem is now, looking at the new immigration targets and the friendly measures that come into place to help international students fill the labor shortage. Today, SMPower is the fastest growing platform for international students population in Canada, and we are the first platform that helps international students succeed at scale once they are inside the country. The international education industry is highly untapped, with less than 5 technology players in the space, with a huge potential to grow. This market aims to hit $433 billion by the end of 2030. Though we're starting in Canada, our goal to expand into other countries where international students also struggle, like the United States, UK, and Australia, where students need help the most. Our team has extensive experience and came here as international students ourselves. I have background in product management and social entrepreneurship. I have advisory board that have experience in higher education to sales, recruitment, and capital market. We are also proud to be backed by many organizations that support diversity and inclusion across Canada. Today, I'm looking for $500,000 to bring more employers onto the platform and start integrating this platform right into colleges and university. We already have 50% of our round committed, and we hope that you can join us too. Thank you.
Great, well done, Pat. Excited to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks.
And thank you for that great pitch. And so going to questions, 1 year from now, what role do you think SMPower will play in the lives of international students?
Yeah, great question. So next year for us, our impact will be even bigger than today, where we can actually help more international students. We would then start integrating this technology right into career centers where the back end are integrated. We will be helping career centers provide a more scalable support end-to-end beyond graduation to their growing population of international students, which unfortunately doesn't exist today. Today, we already have 22 colleges and university who are waiting to integrate our platform whenever we have the technology available in next year. And I'm truly excited to see the impact that we can do. On top of that, this platform really going to be a pathway for international students to transition into the workforce, navigate the immigration journey, and continue to contribute positively to the Canadian economy. The career centers will be able to provide personalized resources, increase the chance of student success, track their progress, prove the credibility of that institution, and start to see the international students beyond the money that they bring to the country, and make sure that their dreams are also being fulfilled.
Great, thanks. why should angel or impact investor invest in is Empower instead of other companies in the recruitment services space?
Yeah, no, great question and a little pun there. Even though we are starting in the one side of the market, which is the recruitment side, to add more inventory of jobs to the platform, we actually see ourselves more as an edtech platform, solving a bigger ecosystem problem that needs to be addressed a long time ago. And on top of that, we are really disrupting the $433 billion market. The international education space is growing so rapidly, and it's highly untapped with a really big potential to grow. We believe that when you are investing in us, you're technically investing in a technology that really solves a real problem that actually changes lives. And these are the lives that a lot of people overlooked. So our team has the lived experience of struggling and being international students ourselves. I was struggling so hard to get even a minimum wage job. And today we're just so proud to be building something that we know will change the ecosystem. We know that it solves our own pain, and we know that it will solve the pain for many millions of international students around the world, putting Canada as a true example for the rest of other countries. So yeah, we are racing right now, so please get in touch with me if you are interested.
Great. Well, thank you. And then maybe just one last question, could you share a success story to highlight the impact that Empower has created so far?
Yeah, for sure. I'm really proud of this too, because, as an international student, we struggle with main thing, which is underemployment. And number one thing that we struggle with is the lack of support system that match our needs. And it's being overlooked by not having a Canadian experience. It's the lack of not knowing how to go about job search system in a new country. So one of the first example I want to give is really one student who came to Canada for his second MBA. So he came here with about 5 years of work experience in HR from his home country. And he was really struggling to communicate his values, selling himself. He doesn't know the landscape and don't even know where to apply. So before he was coming to us, he was spending 1.5 years to find a job. So he joined one of our programs, Career Launcher Bootcamp. He was active on our platform. We were able to help him land a job in HR and at KPMG, which is a great company. And today, now he's coming back to be a mentor and helping other international students who are also struggling just like himself. So imagine what we could do in the years to come once we start scaling this system and using the help of technology.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Pat, and all the best. And hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so next up is Imaginable Solutions. So Liana Genovese is the CEO and founder of that company. And so Imaginable Solutions is a social impact company focused on creating assistive technology to improve the quality of life of people living with disabilities. The company's international award-winning product is Guided Hands, an assisted device that enables individuals living with limited hand function to write, paint, draw, and access technology through touchscreen devices and keyboards.
Hi everyone, my name is Liana Genovese. I'm the CEO and founder of Imaginable Solutions. I met a boy named Elijah. He lives with cerebral palsy, and in this video, I asked him to write his name. But he struggles to write the first letter because he experiences limited control in his hand and arm. Elijah's not able to express himself. This slows his start to learning in school, and he's not able to develop the necessary sensory and cognitive skills that every child needs to grow. Elijah's not alone. He is one of 58.4 million people of all ages who lives with a medical condition or injury that impairs their hand mobility. Our solution is Guided Hands, an assistive device that enables people living with limited hand mobility to write, paint, draw, and access technology through touchscreen devices and keyboards. It uses a unique sliding system that promotes controlled and guided hand movements as the user holds a handpiece tailored to their level of hand impairment. Guided Hands improves quality of life through enabling self-expression, communication, and independence. Guided Hands has competitors. 3 of them are able to hold the right utensil for the user, but here's the difference. Guided Hands provides ambidextrous handpiece tailored to severe levels of spasticity, curling of the fingers in the hand. Guided Hands' unique sliding system promotes the user's gross motor skills in the shoulder rather than using their poor fine motor skills in the hand. And lastly, Guided Hands is multi-purpose and goes beyond the use of just a pen to the use of a paintbrush, touchscreen device, and keyboard. And speech-to-text technology is not able to be used by the people that we serve because most often these individuals have speech impediments or are nonverbal. So there's a potential $3.36 billion market in just North America, and limited hand mobility is a global problem, but right now our focus is in Canada and the US, where we have filed our patents. So we sell Guided Hands for $525, resulting in a 70% gross margin. We are proud to say that Guided Hands is built in Hamilton, Ontario, and it doesn't require any regulatory approval. We sell Guided Hands B2B to medical condition societies, healthcare facilities where it's used as a rehab tool, and for schools for children living with disabilities. And through these 3 channels, we receive B2C sales from referrals from occupational therapists, educational assistants, and social media. Guided Hands has been sold across the world in Canada, the US, Singapore, Australia, and the UK to leading healthcare organizations. And Guided Hands has been tested with over 450 neurologists, occupational therapists, and people living with limited hand mobility. And just within 6 months of being a market, we've sold 83 Guided Hands as a part of our 100-unit product soft launch, generating $50,000. And we've already established our US beachhead market, government-funded assistive technology centers in the US. This is where individuals and families of people living with disabilities go to learn about new assistive technology that they can integrate into their everyday lives. Now, our goal is to have the Guided Hands in every state assistive technology center. We've already sold to 16, and we're currently negotiating with 26. And this is a great way to expand our sales and impact because it often leads to B2C referral sales as well. These assistive technology centers provide warm introductions to other B2B channels. We have a great team of engineers and advisors. My background is in biomedical and mechanical engineering, and across our advisory board, we have over 100 years of experience in the medical device industry. And together, we've transformed Guided Hands into an international award-winning product. One of our greatest awards being the James Dyson Engineering Award. And just a few weeks ago, I presented at the American Congress of Rehabilitation Medicine in Chicago, where we won Best Overall Rehab Technology. Today, our ask is for connections to healthcare professionals and healthcare and facilities. And we're also looking for additional investors for our $500,000 round. This will go towards increasing our sales, our product innovation, and creating a stronger management team. We've already secured a $145,000 investment from Canadian and US investors. At Imaginable Solutions, we're helping improve the quality of life for people like Jeff, who lives with cerebral palsy. Within seconds, he was able to use Guided Hands and express himself, which is really important because he's nonverbal. That is the impact we are making at Imaginable Solutions, and we hope you join our journey. Thank you.
Hi, Liana. Thanks for joining.
Me.
Thanks so much for that pitch. It was really great to learn more about your organization. And so let's just get started. I have a few questions for you. We know that manufacturing is, of course, one element that's foundational for many founders. So can you share a little bit more about your manufacturing capacities at this stage and what's your expansion plan?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm just so happy to say that the first 25 units I made in my basement, and I had about 5 3D printers in my basement. And then when our electricity bill just skyrocketed, and my parents said, Leanna, you need to move elsewhere. I'm very happy that they said that to me, because now manufacturing is with a different company, still in Hamilton, Ontario, which is great. So they manufactured our first 100 guided hands, which were projected to sell out next week. And still with another company in Hamilton, Ontario, we are manufacturing our next 300 units. And then, sorry, I'm just getting over a cold. My voice is really raspy.
No, of course.
And after those 300 units, or by the time that we're estimated to, I guess, run out of stock from the 300 units in June of 2023. So right now we're looking for a manufacturing VP to help us understand at what point do we move from 3D printing to injection molding. So that's one of the key hires that we're hoping to introduce to our team with investment money. But yeah, as of right now, we're manufacturing it in Hamilton, Ontario, and we're hoping to stay here. But again, we're going to have to bring in a manufacturing expert to help us figure out at what point we should go to injection molding.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. And with that expansion, we'd love to know if you could share an update on that recruitment plan, for the positions that you've kind of outlined that are really important in the next year, right, to hire in 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mentioned that definitely the manufacturing VP will be one of our main hires. So we're hoping to bring them onto the team early 2023. And we're hoping that it's going to be one of the engineers from the manufacturing company that we're working with for our 300 unit launch. And another key hire is a fractional CFO right now. So I've just been kind of networking and asking around if there's anyone out there. So maybe I'll ask the crowd as well if anyone knows someone who is maybe looking for some extra work as a fractional CFO and wants to help individuals with disabilities or in this space. And then the last kind of key hire that we're looking to bring onto the team is an operations manager. So that's just hopefully someone who's going to be in the trenches with me, since we are a small team right now. And I'm going to be putting out an application for a hire in 2 weeks from now. So hopefully over the Christmas break, we'll get some interested individuals. And I'm hoping that if anyone sees that posting, maybe you'll share it as well if you know anyone who's interested in this space.
Great. Well, I hope people share it. And so you shared that increase in manufacturing and moving to injection molding is your number one goal to accomplish in early 2024. So how are you planning on balancing this additional manufacturing demand while also ensuring you're building a product that aligns with your social responsibility goals?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know injection molding is usually something that you do overseas, and it's tricky because our company, we're all about inclusion, making sure that everyone's voices are heard. So we definitely need to be very strategic around how we're going to be doing our manufacturing. If we do it overseas, is there proper paperwork that we can ensure that the companies are, manufacturing guided hands in a safe environment? Are the employees getting paid? In an ideal case scenario, I'd love to choose a country that I'm very passionate about, perhaps a family or an organization there that we can directly work with to manufacture guided hands. And, hopefully Imaginable Solutions can provide, kind of a philanthropic give back, scholarships or anything, just, really tied to that social impact, even if we go overseas. Of course, staying in Canada would be ideal, but if we want to make our product even more affordable for all income levels, we might have to go overseas. But it's just a strategic way of making sure that we're not going against my values, our company's values, my team's values during that scaling process. And if anyone is in that manufacturing world and can appreciate manufacturing and scaling without kind of ruining all those values and going against them, I'd love to connect, because that's something that's very important to me, and I don't think I could sleep at night if I didn't ensure that. So that's definitely one of the challenges that we're going to be heading into.
Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing, Leanna, and I really wish you all the best tonight.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I think we're ready for our fifth, last but not least, fifth finalist, which is Voxel bioinnovation with Dr. Carolina Valenti, who is the CEO as well as the CSO. And Voxcell Bioinnovation is creating fully vascularized human-like cancer tissue models by combining a custom high-resolution 3D bioprinter, advanced vascularization software, and proprietary bioinks. And Voxcell aims to accelerate the development of life-saving anti-cancer drugs by providing tissue models that can identify inviable candidates earlier in the drug development phase.
When I was 6 years old, I remember seeing my mom going through breast cancer. And I don't think at that point I knew what breast cancer was, but I knew what pain was. And many years later, unfortunately, that cancer came back. And at that point, I decided to dedicate my life trying to understand how cancer drugs get to the market and what makes cancer so resistant. Diving into the drug development process, I realized that we are talking about pharmaceutical industry that is an industry that is spending close to $500 million just in preclinical testing, just in lab testing of the drugs. And on top of it, it's resulting in 95% of anti-cancer drug failure rate. So those drugs are not getting to the market, and we are using a lot of animal models to test those drugs. And then that's when the idea for Voxcell came, and I thought, can I create something artificially that would allow pharmaceutical companies to test anti-cancer drugs in a more meaningful way, in a way that will relate more to clinical trials, to human data? And that's how we create our human-like cancer tissue models. And we do that using bioprinting technology. And I like to refer to these tissue models as artificial biopsy samples. And as you can see there, the result is a human-like cancer tissue models that have human-like blood vessels. And the idea is that pharmaceutical companies would then inject the drugs through the vasculature and analyze drug efficacy in a more human-like way. And there has never been a better moment to put a technology like ours on the market. The FDA Modernization Act was proposed in 2021 and was actually approved 2 months ago. And for the first time, the FDA is proposing to find alternative to animal testing using new in vitro platforms. And again, for the first time, it's referring to bioprinted models such as Voxcells. Because our tissue models are going to be used as a screening platform, we actually do not require FDA approval. But the FDA Modernization Act is giving that additional endorsement to our technology. We also spend a lot of time talking to potential partners and asking them what they wanted to see in terms of validation data to adopt our technology. So our validation studies were basically designed by specialists, by key opinion leaders in this field. We also spend a lot of time doing market assessment and getting very positive feedback for our 2 products, our tissue models and our bioinks. And we are also part of CBL. So we're putting our vascularized cancer tissue models on the market next year. And these tissue models are 3D printed in-house with our own printer that is Canada's first high-resolution bioprinter, together with our software and our bioinks. Our bioinks is our printer's cartridge and is a product by itself, and we are putting on the market very soon, next week, and these inks are coming to the market. In terms of the tissue models, we are really focused right now on breast cancer, but comparing with the competition is really other preclinical testing techniques out there. However, none of them display the complexity of what we are creating, especially with the blood vessels to create a human-like behavior of the drugs. So we are really targeting ourselves as a tissue engineering company. On the bioink side, we are developing 12 different types of bioinks, 6 of them going to the market next week. And we, for the first time, create the ink that is fully universal. So it can be used in any bioprinter already on the market. And it's really mimicking the tissue in terms of mechanical and chemical properties. Our IP strategy is to create an IP portfolio in bioinks, which already have some tissue models, and our hardware, our printer. Our software will be kept as a trade secret. Our market is the 3D models and the bioinks, in which North America controls around 35% of it. And our customers will be academia, research centers, CROs, and pharma. We have a 70% margin on our tissue models and a 90% margin on our bioinks. I'm the CEO and CSO of Voxel. Dan is our CBO, serial entrepreneur, has exited companies in the past. Sebastian is our head of engineering, has life aspects to join us full time. And Kevin's our director of preclinical R&D. We have the combined expertise to make this company succeed. And we also have an amazing group of advisors and an amazing board. Voxel opened its pre-seed round this year, and we got oversubscribed. And that round was really to extend our runway to 12 to 15 months and to put our tissue mods and BioInk on the market. At Voxel, we are trying to save lives by changing the future of drug testing. Our mission is to accelerate life-saving therapies, getting to the cancer patients sooner, because we know the drug development is costly and is inefficient. But the FDA Modernization Act is trying to change that. And so are we, with human-like cancer tissue models and universal BioInks. Thank you. Hello, Davina.
Yeah, hi, Carolina. Thank you for that great pitch. That was great, and so excited to have you with us tonight. Also to finish off this amazing round of pitches. So. I'll just dive into the questions that we have. So can you walk us through the types of market assessment and outreach to potential partners that you've done and the findings?
Absolutely. So market assessment was a work done partially funded by IREP, and we interviewed around 15 key opinion leaders from academia and pharma. And the idea was really to gather feedback on our products. We showed our product profiles, and we wanted to know what they thought about it, what needed to be changed, what needed to be improved. But also another outcome of that market assessment was really to get potential beta testers and potential customers. So we have a list of people that we are going to be sending BioInks for testing next week. And we have a list of people of potential customers for the tissue models once they are ready. So the market assessment allows us to get their feedback and also potential customers. And we also spend a lot of time talking to potential partners, going to conference, booking meeting. And the idea with these potential partners was really to gather feedback on our validation studies, that is our tissue models, and the complexity of our technology. So our goal was really to gather from them what they needed to see in terms of quantitative data to adopt our technology. So that led to a big CRM that we have more than 100 leads right now, and that will allow us to get these tissue models tested and also potential customers. And we are just signing an MTA, a material transfer agreement with Sunnybrook. We finalized that yesterday, so we are excited about that, to be testing our BioInks and potentially our tissue models too.
Great, thanks. So what is your biggest concern currently, and what are you doing to prepare for it?
Yeah, I think our biggest concern is really adoption of the tissue model. So what we see in terms of the BioInks, it's a brand new category, it's a disruptive technology, but there are BioInks on the market. We just made them better. We made the best BioInk that is out there. But on the tissue models, it's really a disrupted methodology. So we are changing the way that drugs are going to be tested. So we are changing something that is very cemented. The drug development process is very cemented. But what we are seeing with the with the FDA Modernization Act, as I just saw in my presentation, is that endorsement to change the way that drugs are being tested, because it's inefficient, it is still very costly, and it's still a very high failure rate. So to overcome that resistance to adoption, we are really going to doing our validation in-house, but also seeking third-party validation. And we are in deep conversation with the VC Cancer Agency now, and really seeking those key opinion leaders to be testing these tissue models. And also, developing this cutting edge technology takes a very strong team, which we are, but also takes a very strong group of advisors. So we are building our scientific advisory board, and we are having big names from Stanford, from Harvard. So we are building this scientific advisory board to endorse this technology even more.
Great. Thank you. And then this final question, can you tell us a little bit more about how you came up with this innovation and these innovations, the BioInk, the tissue hardware and software?
Absolutely. And I think, to be very honest, as I showed in the presentation, Voxel comes from a personal side, from seeing my mom going through cancer, but the company and the evolution of the product came with time. Voxel is a 2-year-old company, so we are fairly new. We are already putting products on the market, and we have done that in an impressive short period of time. But we actually started as a bioprinting company. The idea was actually to create Canada's first high-resolution bioprinter, which we did. But what we decided to do is developing hardware was very time-consuming, very money-draining. So we decided why not to put the outcome of the printing, that was the tissue models. And to do that, we needed an ink that worked with any kind of cells, any kind of tissue models, and we couldn't find anything on the market that could do that. So the ink came as a development, an internal development out of a necessity, and then became a product by itself. So talking to customers, we realized that it was much more beneficial to have the products, to have the tissue models, than actually selling another machine out there. So the focus is really on creating a company that is a one-stop shop. We do everything in-house. We are not dependent on anyone outside. We have our own bioinks, we have our own tissue models, and we have our own hardware and software.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Carolina.
Thank you.
All the best for this final stage now, and thank you for holding the stage. Great. Sagal, if you're back, just wanted to thank you for sharing the stage and introducing all the pitches with me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm honored to be a co-MC, and I wish all the 5 finalists really the best of luck, the challenge. And I think, like the comments are saying, you hear words like impact, disruptive, innovative, and I don't envy the investors in selecting the winner this evening. So good luck.
Yeah. And echoing also what Alison and Kivel said, I mean, I think seeing these incredible women, really, just the passion and the ambition behind all these projects. I'm just falling out of my chair now. So
I know it's inspiring.
Great. So thank you also. We just shared in the chat a People's Choice Award. So everybody who's here and watching this live gets a chance to vote for their favorite pitch, and we'll announce that in 10 minutes. And so while the investors are finishing deliberations, I think they're discussing right now, we're inviting you to go to the sessions on the side of your screen for 10 minutes of networking, and then we will come back on stage in 10 minutes, so just before 5, to announce the winner. So thank you all. See you in a bit.
We do have our upcoming portfolio approach to impacting investing with Janice on December 1st. And this winter, we're going to be engaging in our Angels for Climate Solutions session. And then we have our Clean Tech Quebec Challenge coming up this spring, as well as our Atlantic Canada Health Impact Challenge. So we're also very excited, as many of you have seen, that we have launched the Spring Investing Collective, and now is the chance to join. All of our investors who have participated in our IICs are now our current members in the Spring Investing Collective. This is an opportunity to learn more, and please follow up and connect with our colleague, Kristen Perry, who is leading this wonderful new initiative. And so we know there's been a number of technical difficulties tonight, but we are hoping that this is a chance for you to tell us a bit more about how we did and how we can hopefully improve for the future. And welcome back, Davina. So glad that you were able to rejoin.
So thank you, Avery, for sharing that. Drum roll, please, and then you can move on to the next slide. So the winner of the Women-Led Impact Investor Challenge is Voxel Bioinnovation. So congratulations, Carolina. We're thrilled for you. And if you're backstage, we'd love to have you back on stage with us to celebrate this. And Avery, I don't know if you are able to come on screen. But yeah, so congratulations so much. So congratulations, Carolina. You're the winner of the challenge and the 100K investment. This is, of course, a great milestone, and I hope an exciting step in your journey as your company grows and as your as we see the future as you in your eyes. Yeah, right. Thank you, Carolina.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. This competition was such a pleasure, and congratulations to all women that made this far. It was so nice to get to know all of you and to get to know all of your companies, but I do want to thank especially our due diligence group. Everyone in that group was absolutely amazing, and it was a pleasure to work with all of you and to share a little bit more about Voxel, about our amazing team that is working so hard to make this company possible. And they're all watching right now. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share a little bit more about the impact that we are trying to do with our technologies.
Yeah, no, thank you, and yeah, excited for you, Carolina. I mean, I think it's true. It's a big program to be part of, and it takes a lot of time and engagement. I think I want to also thank all the investors who are behind this decision, who have been working with you and building their due diligence and to reach this conclusion. But of course, you know, all the companies that we have seen pitched tonight, amazing things ahead for all of them, and of course many connections have been made through this program with the whole investor cohort, and so excited to see that flourishing in the future.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Great. And I also wanted to share that, Carolina, you're also the winner of the People's Choice Award. So well done for the pitch tonight. I think the team here and the crowd here was very excited to see that and to cheer you on for the future. I think, you know, as we were discussing also in the past, you know, cancer has affected a lot of people here, and we're just so excited to see your innovation come to the market and support a lot of families across the world. Yeah.
Absolutely, it takes a village, and it takes an amazing group of people working quite hard, and an amazing group of supporters and investors that are coming and backing us up. So thank you all of you for supporting Voxel. We really appreciate.
Great, thank you. Okay, well, it's time to wrap up our event. Thank you all for participating. Thank you for bearing with us on our technical difficulties. The snow is falling on Vancouver, and I think snow was falling on Hopin also tonight. But it was just great to be with you all. Thank you again. And so I wanted to also thank our 2022 sponsors, and I don't know who's manning the slides here, but maybe go onto the slides to thank you all of our sponsors. And I know many of them are here tonight: DLA Piper, Inc., Tandem, Carl Jung, Active Impact, MNP, and Janus. So excited to see you all very soon at our future events, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you, TELUS, Pollinator, for their engagements towards advancing social and environmental impact. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening. Be safe on the road.